My name is Jack Morris, and until today, I have avoided talking about the summer that nearly killed me. People think I'm exaggerating when I say this, but the truth is simple. I walked out of the woods alive, but part of me never came back. This didn't happen in some foreign country or remote tribal land. It happened right here in the United States, Montana, to be specific, inside a massive, isolated woodland known as Deadwood Forest. And yes, I've heard all the jokes about the name. But I promise you, the name isn't funny after what I went through. This story took place in June of 2022, when my best friend Brandon, his girlfriend Erin, and I decided to go on a 3-day camping trip. We'd camped all over the West, Colorado, Washington, Wyoming, but this trip felt different from the very first hour. When we parked the Jeep and started hiking in, the forest felt wrong. Not dangerous. Not threatening. Just wrong. There was no wind. No birds. No insects humming. Just a heavy, suffocating silence that swallowed every footstep. Sunlight barely touched the ground. The trees grew unnaturally close together, and the deeper we walked, the darker it became, even though it was only noon. About an hour in, we found a decent open patch and decided to set up camp. While the others unpacked, something carved into a large, rotten tree trunk caught my eye. Deep scratch marks, words etched with a knife. "Don't stay after dark." I showed it to Brandon. He laughed. Probably some drunk dude joke. But I didn't think it was a joke. Something about the way those letters were cut, deep, uneven, almost desperate, felt like a warning. We ignored it. That was the first mistake. We spent the afternoon exploring, then cooked dinner over the fire. Brandon cracked jokes, Erin was excited taking pictures, and for a while it almost felt normal. But an hour before sunset, the atmosphere changed again. The forest went dead silent. The wind stopped completely. And from somewhere in the distance, we heard a sound. A long, slow whistling tune. Not random. Not like the wind. It sounded like someone whistling a melody. A slow, drawn-out, haunting melody. I looked at Brandon. He shrugged. Probably some animal. But Erin looked uneasy. When darkness finally fell, we sat around the fire roasting marshmallows. For a while, the night seemed calm again, until the whistling returned. This time closer. This time clearer. And this time, undeniably human. "Hello?" Brandon yelled toward the trees. No reply. The whistling stopped. But the silence that replaced it felt like it had weight, like the darkness itself was leaning in to listen. Around 11 p.m., Erin went inside the tent to sleep. Brandon and I stayed by the fire, talking about work and life. That's when we heard it. A sharp cracking sound behind us, like someone stepping on a large branch. We froze. Brandon shined his flashlight toward the trees, but the light dissolved before it reached anything. Nothing moved. Nothing made a sound. We sat back down, nervous but pretending everything was fine. Then another crack. Closer. Right behind our tent. We both shot up. I aimed the flashlight, but again, nothing. Just trees. Thick, towering shadows. No movement. Brandon said it was probably a moose or a bear. But I've lived around wildlife my whole life. Whatever was out there was walking on 2 legs. And then, we saw something we couldn't explain. Right in front of the tent entrance lay a small, hand-carved wooden doll. It looked old, maybe decades old. Its face was blank except for 2 deep holes where eyes should be. And across its chest was a dark red stain. Not fresh blood, but something dried and unsettling. Brandon reached to pick it up. Before Erin screamed from inside the tent. "Don't touch it!" She came out shaking, tears in her eyes. "I heard someone whisper my name," she said. "Right outside the tent. A man's voice. He said Erin, right in my ear." There was no one outside. But someone had whispered her name. We panicked. Grabbed our stuff. Decided we'd sleep in the Jeep for the night. We weren't staying another second in that tent. But the moment we started packing, the whistling returned. now so close. It sounded like it was coming from between the trees only a few dozen feet away. A slow, eerie tune. Too precise. Too steady. I turned with the flashlight. And for one brief second, the beam caught something. A figure. Tall. Thin. Pitch black. Standing perfectly still between two old pine trees. It had no features. No visible face. Just a human-shaped shadow, at least 7 feet tall. Watching us. I froze. My chest tightened. I couldn't speak. Brandon asked, "Did you see something?" All I could say was, "Run." We sprinted toward the jeep. Branches snapped behind us. Heavy footsteps moving fast. Too fast for a person. Too heavy for an animal. Something was chasing us. We reached the jeep. Brandon fumbled for the keys. Aaron cried. I kept looking back, expecting that tall shadow to appear any second. Then, the whistling. Right behind us. So close it felt like it was coming from inches away. Finally, Brandon unlocked the jeep. We jumped inside. He slammed the doors and turned the engine. Aaron screamed, "Go! Now!" Brandon floored it. The jeep bounced violently over roots and rocks as we tore through the forest road. But the whistling didn't fade. It followed us. As if whatever was chasing us was gliding through the trees, keeping pace with the car. Only when we reached the main road, where the forest suddenly thinned, did the sound vanish. Just like that. Almost as if whatever it was, couldn't cross the tree line. We drove straight to a motel in town and locked ourselves inside. Nobody slept. We kept the lights on, too scared to close our eyes. But the worst wasn't over. When we opened the door the next morning, something was waiting outside. Another wooden doll. This one with 3 deep red slashes across its chest. Exactly 3. There were 3 of us. We left Montana that same day. Brandon refuses to camp anymore. Aaron needed therapy for months. And me? Some nights, when the wind is quiet, I swear I still hear that same slow, drawn-out whistle. Like someone standing in the dark just outside my window. Watching. Waiting. As if whispering. "You escaped once, but next time?" Deadwood Forest still exists. People still camp there. Some of them go missing every year. And I know, that thing is still out there. Still whistling. Still waiting. Still hunting. Maybe for someone like you. Maybe for someone reading this. Or maybe it's already outside your house.